Hey guys, what's up and welcome to this video. So, I know in a recent video, at least I'm pretty sure that I've put up by now, that I didn't have a code for the Madden 21 beta. And at the time, that was true. Though I ended up winning one of the Twitter giveaways and I was DM'd a Madden 21 beta code. So I entered it in, I downloaded the beta, and I played a few games. Now, I didn't play that many games just because I was away camping, and the Wi-Fi at the campground isn't that great, so game quality was So any game like lagging, stuff like that, I'm gonna completely blame on the Wi-Fi at the campground. But I do have things that I like and things I don't like, and I'm gonna put them over. I'm gonna talk about them to you guys while we have this gameplay. Now, this is Madden 20 to be 100%. I can't express that enough. This is Madden 20 gameplay. Okay, I'm just gonna have the computer players go against each other in the Super Bowl, which is, ta-da, right here, the Chiefs and the 49ers. So, and I have to do this because you're not allowed to record any Madden 21 gameplay for the beta. You're not allowed to take pictures of the beta. You're not allowed to stream. You're not allowed to do anything, because if you do, you get removed from the beta, and you get in trouble with EA. So, like, if I were to take pictures and put them on my Twitter, EA could have my Twitter taken down. So it's, they're very, they're anal about it. They really are. They don't want you sharing anything, whether it's stream, recording, whatever, or else you get in a lot of trouble. Now, the beta is over, so yeah, they couldn't, kick me out of the beta, but they could, hell, they could take down my YouTube channel. Well, not EA specifically, but they would just go talk to YouTube, and YouTube would do it. Same thing with Twitter. They would talk to Twitter, and Twitter would say, yep, we'll take it right down. So, they don't joke about this kind of stuff. So, on to my review of the Madden 21 beta. So, things that I like. I'm going to do that first, and then we'll go into the things I dislike. So, things that I like. First of all, the first thing I noticed, because you notice this when you pause, the challenge button has been fixed. Don't ask me why or how they finally decided to fix it, but they did. And, it's been broken for like 3 Maddens now, and they finally fixed it. You could challenge plays. It wasn't pause, go over, and no, it's not, there's nothing to challenge here. That's what it would always say. But now you can actually challenge stuff, which is awesome. The ball knockouts, they're actually realistic. If your player goes up for a ball and it gets knocked out of their hands, it doesn't go flying 10, 15, 20 yards in whatever direction. It goes a couple yards and hits the ground. It's actually a realistic ball knockout. Overall, the game looked good. However the players looked, the fans, the sideline, everything looked aesthetically pleasing. It's not the block characters, obviously, because we haven't had those in a long time. But, it's similar to this, just a little more fine-tuned, like we have gotten each and every single year. There were very nice intros to the games. So when you would click into a game, it has intros for both teams, and it looked fantastic. I absolutely loved it. This is something I was curious about. Now, you were only allowed to play online head-to-head. I don't do that very often at all. But, well, you were allowed online head-to-head, and you were allowed to play against the computer. That was it. There's no Ultimate Team. There's no drafts. There's nothing like that. No Superstar KO. Nothing. So, but in here, they showed something when they would show a player. It said 2020 season stats. Now, whenever I played a game, even an offline game, it would show what they did the previous season, not the season that was coming up. So this could be something where we see, let's say it's week 5, and Patrick Mahomes has, say, 1,500 yards. He's got 13 touchdowns with 4 interceptions. Just shooting out stats. So he would have on like the thing each and every single stat, which if that's updated, once a week, I would be so happy about that. Just to see, okay, instead of showing the entire stats for the previous season, so instead of showing, hey, this is what this player did in 2019, it's, hey, this is what this player did in 2020. I know they update the commentary a lot. So if you're playing a game, the commentators would actually be talking about what's recently happened in the NFL. So I think they're going to do that with the stats as well. Another thing is Lamar is fast. The Ravens being one of the teams you can play as. Lamar is fast, but he really doesn't seem that overpowered. Now, I know it's not Ultimate Team. This isn't Golden Ticket Lamar, and you can just do whatever the hell you want. But it still seems pretty damn good. Because he's fast. He is. Like, I'm not saying Lamar's slow. He's not, it's not like he's Brady in terms of speed or anything. But he just doesn't seem to be super mega overpowered. We had an issue with running the ball in this game. A guy won a tournament with a punter as his quarterback, and he ran the ball. That's it. He didn't pass a single time. And he won a huge Madden tournament because of it. And it's not like he's playing, people just that aren't good. He's playing other pros. These are other people that are playing in this tournament trying to win. So we had a huge problem with the run. He couldn't stop it, even if you ran commit, and people would just run all over you. Well, guess what? In the beta, it was hard to run sometimes. It was. Sometimes it was hard to run. So the run defense was awesome, especially when it was an inside run. On the outsides, it's a little bit of a different story, and I'll get into something else later. That's kind of close to a run, but it's technically a pass. But we'll get into that in a little bit. The pass breakups in general mostly seem realistic. So I had the ball knockouts, that seemed realistic. But how about an actual pass breakup? The receiver never got its their hands on it. So it's just a normal breakup. The corner's in a good position. He bats the ball. Everything seemed realistic. There are flags. You do have flags, but they aren't excessive. It's not in every play there's some kind of penalty. Every once in a while I had like a face mask. That's what I don't know why I blanked on that penalty for a second. Every once in a while there's a face mask. I think once I had like a roughing the kicker. What else? Though that was kind of like a BS one because I hit the left analog stick and R2 just for even a split second, and my guy like bolted over to the kicker and hit him. So whatever. I don't think I had any offsides or false starts or nothing like that. There was holding. So, they were kind of like things that just happen normally. It's not in every single play there's a flags, which is nice. And it's not like they didn't happen at all. Let's see. When defenders get to the players, when they actually make contact with a ball carrier, they make the tackle most of the time. There are very few broken tackles when the defender actually gets their hands on the ball carrier, which is super awesome because that was a complaint in Madden 20 was that there's so many broken tackles. I have listened to other people talk about the Madden 21 beta. Xerxes talked about a time where he was playing on defense and his opponent was at the goal line. And his opponent ran the ball. Xerxes made a great play and went to go tackle the ball carrier and just like bounced right off him and didn't phase the ball carrier like at all. And he was very surprised by that. So let's see what else we got. Oh, fumbling. So fumbling doesn't happen too frequently. Like, again, like flags. It's not that it doesn't happen, it's just it's not frequent. I have an example of where I was playing as the Ravens and I hit Marquise Brown on a passing play. He caught it. I was going for the end zone and I got to about the 4-yard line and the defender knocked the ball out. And I was obviously upset because I had a huge run with Lamar earlier in the drive. And I didn't fumble with him because I slid. But I hit Marquise for that great play and he ended up fumbling. I don't really think there was many other fumbles in the game. Maybe once with like a quarterback or something. Oh, you know what? There was a play where I hit, I think, a wide receiver with my middle linebacker, and I hit him. And he fumbled. Like, I absolutely laid him out. The AI, I believe, is smarter this year. And when I say that, running the football. There were issues in Madden 20 where you need your fullback or an offensive lineman to pick up the guy that's, about 5 yards away from you. And he ends up blocking the guy that's 10 yards away and you get tackled for a 2-yard gain when you could have gotten like a 6-yard gain, So there was that issue with Madden 20. The AI, though, seemed like it knew what it was doing in terms of who to block and where to, who to double team if, your offensive lineman. The AI seemed like it was doing a good job. So that's definitely a positive for me. So going back to where I said, I had the huge run with Lamar and then I slid. That was like the only time I ever had to slide. So for me, sliding worked. I do remember Xerxes having a complaint about it where like he slid, but he like the animation was like for a tackle, or he got tackled at like the same time or something like that. Weird happened. Can't remember exactly what he said, but he had a complaint. Kick returns aren't overpowered, and I didn't actually see any scum kicking. So there's 2 parts to that I'm going to get into. Okay, so we're going to get into this first part of this because it's kind of like it's a 2-parter. So kick returns aren't overpowered. What I mean by that is that when you have a kickoff and you're returning it, there weren't huge returns to like the 30, 35, 40, 45. I didn't see anything huge like that. Typically, a kick return was held somewhere between the 20 and the 30. That was it. That was their range. I didn't really see anything lower than the 20-yard line, and nothing got past the 30. In fact, I think the farthest may have been like 26, 27, 28. So basically between the 20 and the 30-yard line is how far kick returns would get. So that's like realistic. Most kick returns are going to end up anywhere in that ballpark in actual NFL games. So that I liked. Now, what I mean by scum kicking. You know how in Madden 20, someone goes to kick off, they kick it to the right, and then force you right into the corner. That is scum kicking. Now, there were details about what Madden was going to do to address this. and they said, they were doing whatever mechanic-wise to make it harder to do it. I didn't run into that at all. Like I said, though, I didn't play that many games. Having been at camp, the Wi-Fi wasn't that good, so it took forever to download. And then once I finally played, it was laggy, so I really didn't get to play that many games. But I didn't experience any scum kicking. Doesn't mean it wasn't happening, it's just I didn't get anyone doing it, and I didn't do it myself. The actual kicking on kickoffs, I like. There's not that much of a change between Madden 20 and Madden 21. I don't think anyone really had any complaints about the kicking. But it's mostly the same, but it still looks good. So catching does seem better as well. I had quite a few aggressive catches that I did, and the receivers typically came down with them. Catching was really good, both tight end and receiver wise. So I had some nice catches. And one of my huge complaints was with Madden 20 that my receivers, it's like a 95 overall, say. And it's going up against an 85 overall corner because I'm playing a solo battle, right? Or not, yeah, maybe a solo battle or even like a solo challenge. But my wide receiver is like 10 overall higher, and the corner knocks it out half the time. Like, that's not fair. I'm okay with it, if I target 10 times, 1 or 2 drops because of the corner. I'm perfectly okay with that. But to have half the time against a corner that's like 10 overall lower, that it's unacceptable. So catching was a lot better in this game. It was really good, and now granted, it's online head-to-head. It could be different in Ultimate Team. We don't know yet. Next is the celebrations. So celebrations, I like them. They're fun. They're cool. You get to celebrate after a big first down or a big gain or a touchdown, a sack. Even like there were celebrations if you stopped the running back for a loss of yardage. There was some, celebrations. Film study. This is something that Xerxes talked about. So what film study is it's a X Factor, I believe, is what Xerxes said. So what film study is it's like Omaha that Peyton Manning had, okay? Omaha allowed you to see your defenders or your opponent's defense. Film study is an ability for Earl Thomas that allows you to see your opponent's plays, their offensive plays, if they have ran the play a certain amount of times in a row in a game. Or I don't know if it's in a row or it's just a certain amount of times in a game. Now, some people hate it, some people love it. Those who hate it either run the same play every single time, or they run the same play, but they have different, stuff for it. So let's say you click the same play over and over, but you hot route all your receivers to different things. That's kind of why they're pissed. But if someone just runs the same play over and over, this is nice because then you can best figure out how to stop it. And the fact that I think if I understood Xerxes correctly, it also allows you to see the adjustments that they're making, the hot routes and all that. So I think it's a great idea. They could tweak it a little bit, but overall I love the idea. Just because, people are gonna run the same play over and over. I don't do that. Here's my view of it. You have a playbook. You have an entire playbook. And yet you use 5% of it. I use 75% of my playbook. Now, am I going to lose more games doing that? Yes. But I don't care. I use most of my playbook. Just because I like running different plays. I like trying new things. That's just me. I try to play it as realistic as possible. So, like I said, that's just me. Other people aren't going to be like that. They're going to want to run the same few plays over and over. So that's it for stuff that I like. Let's get into the stuff that I don't like. I don't like how the defenders take angles when they go after a ball carrier. I don't like it at all. They take a completely wrong angle that doesn't make any sense at all. And it's infuriating. It really is. That's something that really, really needs to be fixed in Madden 21. That, from the beta to the actual game. Next is the defender seem very slow. Whether you're usering somebody or this is more about the run again. Like I said, the run to the inside, you get stuffed a lot. And the run defense is very good. It is. I played a game. My opponent had 1 rushing yard. I had -5 rushing yards. Now, we passed on each other. Oh my. It was a field day. We each had over 300 passing yards. Okay? But we couldn't run the ball. Now, there's an issue when you run outside. The defenders on the edge are almost like they're running in slow motion. So, like a read option with Lamar, I was able to do that quite a bit in other games. The game I'm talking about, we both had the Chiefs, so we both had Mahomes. We just passed, like crazy. So you have Lamar who read options and he's gone. Or your user, you're trying to user around and, okay, I got this route. Okay, now that this route's going to be covered by this guy, I'm going to come forward and try to cover this route, and before you can even get halfway, the guy has the ball and he's running now. Xerxes also had a complaint about when you click onto a guy, and like that guy is close to making a tackle, so you want to hit circle, or I guess in the case of Xbox, B. But I want to hit circle and then X. I think it's B then A for Xbox. I don't have an Xbox, so I have no frame of reference to go off of. But that's what I want to do. I want to hit circle and X immediately to try and make the tackle. But for him, it was delayed. For me, one time I did that, and it transitioned to the wrong guy. It didn't transition to the guy closest to the ball carrier. And that I was kind of pissed about. Because I felt like I could have made the tackle if it actually transitioned to the right person. Another issue I have. Jet touch pass is OP with Tyreek Hill. So jet touch pass was a play if you had the Kansas City Chiefs that you could run. A lot of NFL teams do it. In actual real NFL, where you have like your fastest wide receiver go from the slot, motion in to the quarterback. The quarterback says hike as he gets to him, and then he throws it 2 feet in front of him, or not even throws, tosses it 2 feet in front of him for the wide receiver to get and take off. So when my opponent was doing that with Tyreek, it was, plus the fact that the defenders on the edge are slow, you couldn't stop it, really. It was hard to stop. Not that you couldn't in general, but it was a huge gain, most of the time. So, and by most, it's probably about 90% of the time it's a huge gain. You might stop him for a short gain, no gain, or maybe like somewhere in the medium ballpark. And other times, you take it to the house. Lamar Jackson's picture was of Lamar Jackson. Now, you may be thinking, isn't that what's supposed to happen? Yes, Lamar Jackson's picture should be Lamar Jackson. But what it should not be is the Lamar Jackson that's the corner for the New York Jets. For those of you who do not know, there was a player coming into the draft this year. He was a corner out of Nebraska. His name is Lamar Jackson. Now, like I said, he is a corner for the New York Jets. He went undrafted. Okay. And Lamar Jackson, the quarterback, not the cornerback, the quarterback for the Ravens, they had Lamar Jackson, the other one. Now, that was eventually fixed, but that's like, really? He's your cover athlete. Really? Like, come on. Like I said, it was fixed. That was just something I had to mention. Xerxes, if I can, I'll show it right now. Xerxes tweeted about people already being salty when they're losing. So people would pause and they would just get upset if they were losing. And it's a beta. That's not what this is about, winning or losing. This is about playing to figure out what's right and what's wrong with this game. Apparently people don't feel that way. The button changes are awkward. So, again, for those who don't know, on a PlayStation controller, you used to hurdle with triangle, okay? And you would truck by flicking the right analog stick forward. That's reversed. Now you truck with triangle, and you hurdle by flicking the right analog stick forward. Now that's something that we're just going to have to get used to. It is. Because for them to change the controls, I don't think they would. So that's just something we got to get used to. Now, would they change it back for Madden 22? Maybe. But by that time, we're probably all used to trucking with triangle. So we'll see what happens. Okay, this was a problem just I had in general. Like I said, I was camping and it took forever to download. It took forever to download because it was a 54 gigabit file. 54 gigs for a beta. That seems unnecessarily large for a beta. Plus, when the beta ended, it said for people to enter a code. This is something completely different that I'm talking about now. I'm just going to segue to this. So it's possible with such, now that I'm thinking about it, with such a big file and with people, and now with it saying add new code, could there be like a beta 2.0 kind of deal where it's like, okay, here's a new beta, fix it, you know, play it again and see what happens. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe we get more teams, or maybe the teams that were in now get taken away and replaced with 4 new teams. I have no idea. Pass rushing is okay, I guess. It's OP at times. Again, probably a thing we gotta get used to. So, when I say OP at times, sometimes, even when doubled, defenders, like those defensive linemen, still got through sometimes. So pass rushing is nice. It's not as overpowered as it would have been in Madden 20, because I remember people saying it's in the beta it was really bad, and still in the game, pass rushing sometimes, holy hell. So now in the beta here, you really only have one superstar defensive lineman, right? Or edge, or whoever, one guy on the line. So for like the Buccaneers, it's like Shaq Barrett. For the Ravens, it's Calais Campbell. For the Chiefs, it's Chris Jones. I don't think the Falcons had one, according to Xerxes. But I didn't ever play as the Falcons. No one played against the Falcons when I played them. So now, granted, they were like they were just a far lower overall than the other teams. If I had to guess, though, maybe Grady Jarrett, the D tackle, could have been one. But that's just a guess. If anyone wants to put down in the comments what it actually was, please feel free. Now, other times, you just got completely stuffed, and that's fine, So sometimes you got through, sometimes you were doubled, sometimes you didn't get through. So it was like a healthy mix. It's just at times, even when you were doubled, there was a small issue with still, like, I mean, if you're Aaron Donald, that's one thing. But, because he gets, like, double or triple teamed every single play. It's either doubled or tripled. It's not single. You do not put Aaron Donald in single protection on any play. So maybe that is kind of realistic, because I noticed it with Chris Jones, how I was getting doubled and I still was like pushing through a little bit. So I didn't get to the quarterback, but I was still pushing 2 offensive linemen. So what I have written here is the zone when using a defender. I don't have issue with the zone coverage. That's not it. With defenders in general. But when I would play zone and I would use the middle linebacker, the ball gets snapped, I know where I'm supposed to play zone-wise, okay? But what happens is, you have your player, a line goes, like, off of them, and, like, there's a zone. I didn't know what was up with that. I didn't know if that meant, hey, here's your, like, here's where you're supposed to be, or, hey, this is what you should do now. Like, the other stuff was pre-play, but now that the play's happening, this is where I didn't know what it meant. So that just went for a negative for me, because to me, it was kind of distracting. I'm looking at that like, whoa, wait, what's supposed to happen? I'm not watching the play develop, you know? Another thing was the change of direction on defenders is practically non-existent. Along with them being slow and taking poor angles, they're now having a poor change of direction as well. This I didn't think I experienced, but maybe I did on like one occasion on a pick that I threw that I felt shouldn't have been a pick because it kind of got bounced around. And it could have done this, but the ball hitting the receiver in the head. So it's possible that happened to me. I didn't think it did initially, but as I thought about it, possibly. But Xerxes, he wasn't kidding when he said this. The very first play where he passed, he was playing as the Chiefs, and it hit Tyreek Hill in the helmet. Tyreek didn't react. He didn't do anything. This kind of was similar where I was playing someone and they faked the extra point and threw it to the offensive lineman. The offensive lineman was turned around, looking straight at them. It hit the offensive lineman in the chest and he didn't do anything. He just stood there and it hit him in the chest and bounced off. So there's issues with the ball hitting the receiver somewhere and the receiver not doing anything. That's all stuff that can be cleaned up. You hope, at least, can be cleaned up in the actual game. We still have at least a month and a half until people are able to play the game. Because the actual release date is August 28th. But if you pre-order the deluxe or MVP version, you get to play 3 days early, which is the 25th. But if you have EA access, you're also allowed to play on the 21st. Now, it runs out after X amount of time, but you're actually allowed to play August 21st if you have EA access. So it's like a month and a half until we can play that. And if you don't have EA access, then you're still at, a little more than a month and a half. So between now and then, if we get another beta, or that just gives them this amount of time to fix it. That's everything I had to comment on. It was mostly out of my experience, like I said. But I also listened to other people talk about it. And overall, it seems like the beta was more positive than negative. It does. Now, other people are just going to be completely negative about it, saying this sucked, this sucked, this sucked, this sucked, this sucked. And that's fine. That's their opinion. Maybe they actually had a horrific time playing the beta. Maybe everything went wrong for them, and that's fine. But other times, maybe some people had a great experience. They're like, oh, I loved it. Nothing bad happened. But then you have people in the middle. And I'm kind of in the middle where I had good stuff, I had bad stuff. But overall, I thought it was more positive. There was more good than bad to it. I hope it's better than this game. I really do. Now that we actually do have some form of gameplay for it that people experienced. Because before, they were just telling us about it, and people were like, no, it's Madden 18 4.0, I think that would be, because 18, 19 would be 2.0, 20 would be 3.0, yeah, 21 would be like Madden 18 4.0. That's what people are calling it. But, or at least were. But now that we actually have some gameplay, maybe that changes people's minds. So, it's going to be interesting to see. Especially with Ultimate Team, you know? Because then, if you have Lawrence Taylor and Von Miller, you know, as your edge rushers, and both are X-factored with abilities, versus just one guy, or if the Falcons really did have no guys on the D-line with the X-factor and abilities. And I've been watching the game I've had for you guys playing, just a little bit by a little bit. There has been a lot of fumbling. So, like I said, it didn't happen too much as well. So that, I mean, that's just the first, like, you see Madden 20, and then me playing Madden 21 beta, I'm like, yeah, that didn't happen that much. But other times, maybe it, you know, you should have, because Xerxes had a complaint about Lamar not fumbling, you know, often enough. So, you know, it really is opinion, what happened to you, what experiences you had. But overall, I really do think it's more positive than negative. So if you guys enjoyed this, I know it's super long. It's like 39 minutes now. And I just want to thank you guys for, you know, sticking with me while I talked about everything. Instead of making 3-4 videos that, you know, were X amount of minutes, I'm making one video. Boom, done. So thank you guys for being patient with me as I talked about everything. If you guys had a beta code and you played the beta, let me know your thoughts down below. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and turn notifications on. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.
Once I was 7 years old, Mama told me, go make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years old.